All right, we are coming in for the sophomore episode of the Shower Beer Podcast. My name is John, and I was once pushed by Kristen Wiig.
My name is Chris, and I once recorded 2 podcasts in the same night.
My name is Jack, and I have a podcast that has 21 more listens than Jay Mariotti.
All right, so this is take 2 on this podcast. We recorded an hour of gold just to find out that our fancy hardware setup tossed an echo on the most of it. They got progressively worse.
We'll just say that.
So we are just going to go and dive in, and we will learn from our mistakes in the hardware and maybe software gods. I don't know. Things are crazy. So
Are they real gods?
I mean, they're realer gods. Never mind. That's a whole different story.
Fuck Poseidon.
All right. So big this week as far as actual news goes, things that matter to people outside of just idiots like us. Hillary Clinton is in the news for being very sick. She has pneumonia is the official story.
If you want to believe that.
I mean, my whole thing is that I can only imagine what the campaign trail does to a person. I mean, it's just nonstop. I would say more difficult just for a toll on the body than actually being president. Presidents get vacations. They get to take them whenever there's a national tragedy in Louisiana. And when you're on the campaign trail, you don't get that luxury. You just go. I assume lots of hours a day. So maybe she's not a robot after all. I know that's one. Actually, maybe that means she is a robot, and this is to throw us off the trail.
Well, listen, from personal experience, when I was 12 years old, we founded a neighborhood bug club where we had to find cool, neat bugs, and it was my idea, and I thought I should be president. Well, so did some other sly motherfuckers. And I actually had to run a campaign trail. And once I actually became president, I mailed it in.
All right.
But actually having to get the president of the bug club, because whoever finished second up became secretary. Obviously a bullshit position.
Sure.
So
How much were they writing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I won, and
Right.
I was winded.
Well, here's the
long-winded.
I find that very easy to believe. You know, because honestly, at the end of the election, if you are not beat to shit, then A, you didn't try hard enough, and B, it really says a lot about your opponent.
Or you're just Arnie Vinnick.
Fair enough. He was 95 years old, if I remember correctly, and he only lost because of a power outage or a nuclear meltdown.
Something of that sort, yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing's crazy.
This is the craziest election ever.
It really is.
Like, I can't even, like, sometimes I wake up like, this is not real life. Like, I remember, like, Howard Dean lost because he yelled, yeah. Like, that was enough to
that
sink
cost
him.
an election.
And, like, Trump just says racist things and his numbers rise. Like, it's just insane.
And has he answered a single question yet?
No.
You're going to love his answers. He has the best answers.
I bet he does.
Believe him.
My favorite is, so, Mr. Trump, you say that you're going to build this wall and the Mexicans are going to pay for it. That's right. Well, they said that they're not going to pay for it. Well, the price just went up 10%. That's not an answer. It doesn't answer anything.
His answers are, his numbers probably rise after that. That's his answer.
Yeah. Well, that and all of his deplorables that are voting for him.
That
Yes.
entire basket.
And you know what? Hillary backpedaled on that, and I get it that you want to, that, okay, maybe it was an exaggeration that half of his supporters are deplorables. But let's be honest. A lot of them are.
It's probably more than half.
I mean, I'm not a numbers guy. Well, that's not true. I'm a numbers guy.
You are a numbers
I'm
guy.
not a political numbers guy. I don't do a lot of census taking. The Gallup poll hasn't come to my door with a bunch of numbers. I don't really know. I like to think, because I'm a glasses half full kind of guy, not glasses half racist, that the country's not that bad, but they're out there, and they're voting for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Enthusiastically at that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my whole outlook on life is that people are inherently terrible, and so I then cherish those who are not terrible and really like those people. So I don't know. This is just bringing out what people are inherently like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. I get it.
All right, well, fair enough. So moving vaguely into the direction of sports, news, as always, in the world of Paralympics.
In the Paralympics, interesting story that the 1,500 meter run, just under a mile, there were 4 Paralympians who ran a faster time than the Olympic gold medalist.
Now, so when I think Paralympics, I think back to South Park episodes of The Ringer where there are a whole bunch of mentally retarded people, which is not actually that's the Special Olympics.
Special
That's
Olympics,
a different
yes.
thing.
This is Paralympics.
Paralympics. Okay.
I mean, what you would imagine is one-legged people running this.
You know,
but
what's funny? You mentioned the difference between the two, and at 30 years of age, I just realized they are two separate events.
well,
Jesus Christ, I am an insufferable bastard.
well, here at Shower Beer Podcast, we aim to not just entertain, but also to enlighten. And you know what? You've been enlightened, my son.
I was always told if you don't learn something new every day, you're not doing it right. I
All right.
learned something today.
And that means you're doing it right. So here's the question, because when I think Paralympics, they're not like there's a whole bunch of different things that could be wrong with you, right? Like what's wrong with these particular chaps?
these were the...
They're not Blade Runners, are they? Because they're allowed to work in the real Olympics
They can.
and murder as many girlfriends as they want.
Yes. Well, maybe only one.
Yeah.
All it takes is one.
Well, I mean, the first guy opens the door. The rest, it's up to the rest.
Actually, he shot down the door.
Alright. It's up to the rest of us to really push the limits. You don't know how many girlfriends you can murder until someone tries.
Right. Sure.
So let's get that back on track from there, Jack.
These were the vision impaired athletes. So,
Alright,
yes.
So, I'm just trying to picture this.
I don't know. Is it a straight line or is it an oval?
It's an oval, just same Rio track, all that.
No.
So wait, so your vision impaired. You have to run in an like how?
Well, does your guide dog have to be able to run the
I was
same
just
mile
thinking
time
guide
as you?
dog.
I don't know.
Do they have?
Guide dogs are shock collars to keep them in line, like
Or
the
do
invisible
they just like
fence.
grease up the corners? That's how they go so fast. They like hit them corners and just like shoot around the
Hopefully
side.
they don't tear an ACL around in that corner.
I-
I mean, what if you're the Paralympian who happens to have the dachshund as your guide dog? You're shit out of luck.
I feel like guide dog draft picking is really key in this sport.
I feel like
I would watch that as a televised event.
Oh, without a doubt.
ESPN
And how much
covered
fun would
shit.
that be betting on? Prop bets are through the roof. First one to fall over.
Oh, yeah.
First one to trip on their dog. First dog to take a shit.
Or buzzword, is that a PED? I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
performance enhancing dog.
Yes.
Oh, no. He got one of the Iditarod dogs. That's not fair.
Goddamn Great Dane is juicing again. Fuck you, Marmaduke.
No doubt about it. All right, so moving from broken athletes to broken musicians, Nelly is back in the news. So this started a little while ago, but it's kind of blown up big time, right?
Yeah, so I don't... Michael had just told me that it came out a year ago, but apparently Nelly owes $2.4 million to the feds for taxes and $150,000 to the great state of Missouri. And his fans want to...
Which apparently there's a lot of that are very active and vocal.
Yeah.
Which, hey, if this is 99, I'm with you.
Now here's the thing. Are they real fans or are they just like trying to jump onto like some cool trend? Like Harambe. Like how many people really care about the gorilla or who just wants to capitalize on the meme?
I don't like what you're implying, Chris.
Do tell.
Don't get me wrong. Troll recognize troll when it happens.
Yeah, right.
But I'm just saying, no one really gives two shits about Nelly, not even Murphy Lee.
Well, his fans are putting, I wouldn't say their money per se where their mouth is, but their listens, they're trying to stream over Spotify and such. However, to pay off the debt, Nelly needs approximately 287,176,547
All right,
streams.
wait a second. You said approximately,
Approximately.
and then gave an exact number.
Schematics.
You gave an exact 9-digit number. Approximately, like, is there a half-person variance?
I mean,
there?
we're talking fractions
So
of
how
cents.
much? All right, how much money does he owe?
2.4 million.
2.4 million. Yeah, roughly.
So let's speculate here on what he blew that money on, outside of tricking out Oldsmobile Cutlasses.
Well, I think that he probably invested a shocking amount of money into getting a Ford in his basement.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Which is a lyric that I still don't understand. I actually looked up at one point. The internet doesn't know what it means.
So, I mean, Country Grammar.
He's just joking.
That was his first
Unless
album,
you're going
right?
to do it.
First album was Country Grammar, right?
I don't know. It was called his first single.
Yeah.
Was Country Grammar.
Then he had a Sweatsuit. We don't remember that. But
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the St. Lunatics album. I owned it. But but they had a lyric in there.
So what percentage of the Spotify St. Lunatics listens does he get? How does that factor in?
I mean, he wrote all the lyrics for Murphy Lee and all the other St.
Well,
Lunatics
so then
members.
he's got publishing. So
Yeah, so I mean,
All right, so you can put that in your playlist.
so
no doubt
stream
about it.
Midwest Swang. I mean, that's a great song.
I think that you're using the wrong adjectives here, but it's definitely a song.
All right, it's fantastic. Maybe.
And so, speaking of Spotify, they are apparently blowing Apple out of the water.
yeah, Spotify just tweeted that 40 is the new 30 ... million.
Ooh.
They apparently have 40 million paying subscribers. Apple Music, which released 1 year ago, roughly, 15 million subscribers. So really just blowing them out of the water. I mean, I know Apple Music is pretty new. I'm against Apple Music. They kind of ruined iTunes.
And I'm against Apple.
No,
So
why?
we're on
All
the
right.
same side.
So my friend Anthony swears by Apple Music.
Yeah,
He loves it because he can download as many songs as you want for $10 a month.
$10 a month.
I mean, like I said, I use LimeWire still. I just sabotage my mom's old PC.
You want to give your mom's PC AIDS? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
pretty much. So
You got Bear Share running on
I
there
just
too,
feel like
buddy?
every episode I just say something terrible about my mother. Mom, if you're ever listening, if you know how to use a fucking computer, I love you.
Do you have this on tape for her? By
I
chance?
do.
Well,
Cassette tape.
press the vinyl.
You know it. But no, like seriously, what is
Oh, that
the-
would be good for the hipster crowd too.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, I'll sign some fucking vinyl covers.
Oh yeah.
How does Apple Music ruin iTunes in a sense? I'd like to. I'm just curious.
Well, the day Apple Music came out, that iTunes was the forefront of online or
Like purchasing songs.
well, just being the platform that they had, their operating system. They completely changed it. At one point, I think I didn't even know how to shuffle, which was the number one. When the iPod came out, that was probably at the top of the list of what people liked about the iPod.
Okay.
Just the whole operating system that they had was terrible, and Spotify kind of just took over exactly what iTunes was and is much more navigable.
Okay, that's fair enough. Like I
Yeah.
said, I don't really use either as much. So
At the end of the day, it's just content, though.
And I want to give you some kudos. In the first version of this podcast that is forever in the trash, Jack had a very tough time with the word navigable.
I wasn't sure if it was real at first. Still not sure.
once
Yeah.
we realized we had a shitty echo, he had time to research a little.
Yeah. Did you sabotage that first? Because that might have been right around the time that the echo started.
8-minute mark, maybe? I don't
Yeah,
know.
was that a direct sabotage by you?
He's like, "Oh, I sound like an idiot for 30 seconds. Let me sabotage the next 2 hours of these guys' lives."
And I'll wait until after it's been rendered and uploaded once.
You know what I do love though? When we go over a rundown segment, and anytime something tech related comes, our eyes just naturally gravitate towards Jack. We're like, "Oh, it's Jack. It's tech talk." It's like I'll let these guys take the lead. There's no way I'm taking the lead on anything technology based. Like I just learned that your ears are supposed to go on certain sides of these headphones. You're like, "Which one's left? Which one's right?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just throw them on. I got them at the dollar store."
So the weak link of this podcast is Chris's headphones.
Hell yeah.
Other than the echo, you mean?
Well, that's the weak link of podcasts that people will actually hear.
Yeah. Outside of us.
Yeah, so,
And Jerry Mayorati.
all right, and moving things along,
Jay Barry.
for the second week in a row, Rob Lowe is relevant. So last week he was relevant because of the roast, which we all seem to enjoy to varying degrees. And now, absolutely wonderful news coming from the Rob Lowe camp. He will be on Super Troopers 2, which I know personally I am anxiously awaiting. And it's going to be playing the mayor, I think is what it is.
Yeah, apparently the rumor is he's been cast as the mayor. I mean, one of the most anticipated comedy sequels in a while. I mean, most
Agreed.
people don't like comedy sequels that much. They seem forced. Was that 01? Something like that? We're looking
yeah.
14, 15 years. I mean, it's just, I
think
cannot wait.
They kickstarted it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Kickstarter blew up.
So there's like a thing where you put a whole bunch of money up and like go to some kind of beer drinking competition in Chicago and like hang out with those guys, and you needed a team. And I had my portion up, but I couldn't find anyone else that wanted to spend a stupid amount of money to go do that.
And how much was that exactly that you didn't tell me about until now?
I want to say it was like $2,500 a head, not including travel or lodging.
Oh, yeah. Totally legit.
Hey man, I'll couch share. I'll sleep under a bridge. I don't give a shit. I'll just make friends. I'll bang for roof.
All right.
You sleep under bridge normally anyway.
I mean, you've been to my home.
New bridge, new city. Who cares?
That's right. Makes the zip code rule work a lot better.
That's
or area
right.
code, or what is it?
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, Rob Lowe back in the news. I'm happy about this. I mean, it's right within his range. He's good at playing people that are dignified. He's also good at playing a villain, which I assume the mayor is going to be.
Probably will be, yeah.
God, I hope so.
Actually have any now.
Was a great villain in Tommy Boy.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
These shoes are worth more than your life. I use that line all the time. Especially for
Pay
things that
chips
make
to the kid or
no
something?
sense.
So I feel like going forward on this podcast, we have 2 official podcasts, on the books. We have 2.
Like 1 1/4
Yeah,
right
we'll
now.
figure it out.
We'll see how this
Lion
turns
King
out.
1.5. We all had that as a child. But we have 2 Rob Lowe tidbits. I mean, we're playing with house money now. I feel like going forward, no matter what happens, we will find out what the hell Rob Lowe's doing in his life.
A Rob Lowe update?
We will have the Rob Lowe update.
All right, I'm on board.
So when we tag SoundCloud later with tags, Rob Lowe update.
All right, we got to
Rob
do
Lowe.
that.
All right.
And that's,
Hashtag
I
Rob
think
Lowe.
we've got a very clear stated goal of getting him on this podcast at some point.
Yeah.
I'll set the over-under at that for 19 years.
Sure.
So, man, moving along. We're going to get much more local than Rob Lowe. We're going to move to the Philly Zoo, which has done what has always a great idea.
Of course, as we've all learned, the number one thing you can do on the internet now is to have a naming contest. And, of course, the Philadelphia Zoo,
And what are they naming?
they have a brand new baby lowland gorilla. Sounds a little bit familiar, maybe. And they decided to give the internet a shot at naming this gorilla.
So, obviously, this has never worked ever. I believe for a brief moment there was a town somewhere called Limp Bizkit or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, obviously, the internet just immediately did its thing and put Harambe on there, which is a terrible idea. I don't support that at all. The clear choice for a troll name should be Haram C.
Of course.
I mean, there will never be another Harambe.
There will never be.
I mean, maybe the internet decides there's another Harambe. I mean, we talked about this, how the Cincinnati Zoo has probably the worst PR department in the history of the world. Maybe next to Ryan Lochte, I don't know. But I think this is a great move. I haven't been to the Philly Zoo maybe since I was 6.
Yeah, I was there last summer.
If there's a Harambe, let's say Haram C, I'm going to the goddamn zoo.
I don't blame you
likewise.
for that. I do not blame you for that one bit. I mean, the whole thing, Harambe obviously number 1. I personally would name it Amy, not after my wife.
From Congo?
From Congo. Teach this fucking gorilla how to speak sign language and have conversations.
You know that's old news, right? I mean, gorillas are playing the bass now.
They need to teach that.
That's racist, Jack.
They need to teach Amy too.
I'm talking about Flea's bass, all right?
Okay.
They need to teach Harambe too to sign Harambe rest in peace.
Of
And
course.
Not
The
dicks out
internet
for
will
Harambe.
implode.
What was the
Well, his
name?
dick will be out. Is it a boy or do we know?
I did not see what it would be.
They should put pants on it and then just say no dicks out for Harambe.
I'm just talking about this. Okay, imagine it. ABC, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. We got this Amy gorilla training, right? It becomes the John Edwards crossing over of the gorilla universe. Can you imagine making contact with Harambe on the other side on live TV? And how he really feels about the fucking meme uprise of 2016?
So what's the chance that if they had named this new gorilla Harambe, that someone would go there and pull their dick out? Like 100%, right?
Now, those who
Sounds
don't
like
know,
a listener challenge.
but for those who don't know, the Philly Zoo is not in the best area. So that is absolutely possible.
That is a listener challenge. Regardless of what they name this gorilla, someone should go whip their dick out and say "dicks out for
When they
Harambe."
name this gorilla Curtis or something stupid, go whip your dick out for Harambe and screw you, Curtis. Listen to the internet. Power to the people.
Harambe forever, helicopter dick.
I will not post your bail. I'll laugh at your expense, but I will not post your bail.
It's quite the expense. So, from this point on, we're going to move over to a new segment, Maiko's movie pick.
Oh, hell yeah. Maiko's movie pick, and we're talking French gore films, as always, because it's new, so I'm setting the precedent and setting the bar.
Hey, man, you do it.
But no, so this French gore movie debuted at a Toronto Film Festival. It's a movie about cannibalism. A vegan...
Always a popular
A
topic.
vegan vet student is studying abroad Or is that probably some cannibal? What is that crew? Whatever clan? Whatever. Is that
Vegan and
racist?
cannibals. That sounds interesting.
Exactly.
Wait, is there an official name for cannibal teams?
Is there?
I don't know. I feel like there should be now.
Why don't we have an internet vote to decide to name them?
All right.
That always ends well.
All right. The Harambe's
The
it is.
Harambe it is.
Harambe of cannibals.
But anyway,
shows up to this veteran.
Long story short about a movie I've never
Vegan.
seen. Apparently, a lot of people got sick in theaters, and that's the kind of stuff that gets my attention. So,
And this
kinda
comes up
wanna
from
see
time
it
to time,
out.
like viral marketing things about how people react to horror movie
The
screenings.
Blair Witch and whatnot. When
Yeah,
you know,
Blair Witch.
yeah.
Everyone freaked out. Blair Witch 2 for different reasons.
Can't wait for Blair Witch 3.
Yeah, which apparently is getting some real hype. I saw Blair Witch Project 2 in the theater.
Ooh.
So
Wait,
I will,
2?
Yeah.
How is
yeah.
that?
How do you think it was?
Did it make you sick?
I went for the only reason that you could imagine would be acceptable.
Nudity?
Nope. Date with a hot girl.
There it is.
She wanted to go see it. I went to see it.
Same reason I saw Bedazzled featuring Brendan Fraser in theaters.
Yeah, but at least that had Elizabeth Hurley in it.
It did have Hurley.
So I'm
Fantastic.
okay with that.
Worst movie you ever seen in theater? Was it Blair Witch Project 2?
I feel like it's got to be.
Okay.
Now, I will say that the only movie I've ever walked out on was Mr. Magoo.
Ooh, I
Leslie
forgot that
Nielsen?
was the thing.
I don't remember. I was, I don't know, that age that I was old enough to be at the movies with friends, but that movie was out.
And it was that bad.
Oh, it was that bad? We ended up leaving and just like wandering around the shopping center that we were in.
Waiting for your parents to give you a ride.
Eventually, that's how it ended. Yeah, none of us had cars yet.
So you'd rather just walk around the movie.
we weren't old enough to
the
drive.
concourse than sit
Yeah,
in
there
the
was a
movie.
McDonald's there and like a dollar store, and I'm sure we just messed around. I don't know.
I walked out of a movie once. I showed up half drunk to Apocalypto. Realized I was gonna have to read half the time, and then my friend texted me, asked if I wanted to smoke weed. And I was like 17. I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you in the parking lot of movies 10 to smoke weed.
Hey, movies 10 is where Magoo was.
That's right. So then I went back into it, missed 20 minutes of the movie. I was stoned, and it's probably a top 12 movie I've ever seen in my life.
Way to turn it around.
Ask me if I've seen the entire thing sober, beginning to end, after that.
I would assume no.
Of course not.
Yeah, why would you ruin
Why would I
your
want to
thing?
ruin a hell of an experience like
Right.
that? So, Jack, you hate being put on the spot. What's the worst movie you've ever seen in theaters?
The worst ones are probably when I was a kid and I actually enjoyed them. The first one that comes to mind was actually the new Ghostbusters.
So, all right, so a repeat topic. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way to blow it.
Way to blow it.
what can
All
I
right,
say?
so moving along, since that's been ruined. See if you redeem
Thanks,
yourself,
Jack.
Jack. Your pick for a new TV show.
New TV show, absolutely. I just heard about this last week. Maybe there's Donald Glover's fans around here. I personally really like Donald Glover and
He can do no wrong.
Childish Gambino. Funny that he's Childish Gambino. He just released a show called Atlanta about a up-and-coming rapper in Atlanta. Very good so far. A dramedy, if you will. Kind of more poignant topics than just, being a drama, but
Is it
very
better than
funny.
Blackish?
I actually have not seen too much Blackish, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. I really like Atlanta so far.
So when I think comedies with good poignant moments, the first show that pops in my head is Scrubs.
Okay.
I mean, are we in the same ballpark here?
Love Scrubs.
Drama-wise, not that ballpark, but it does make you think.
So he doesn't kill anyone?
No comment.
Oh!
Ooh.
Potential spoiler save. Jack going for the redemption. I like it.
Okay.
So
Piqued my interest.
So speaking of spoilers, we're going to dive right into another one. America's Got Talent tonight. So this is going to be a sports crossover here. John Dorenbos making it to the Final Five.
He
Three.
finished.
Well, he started
third.
in the Final Five,
Yes, when
Wow.
we turned it on.
and now you've already spoiled it. He finished third in the
Asshole.
competition. Yeah. Oh man. Is there a part where we vote someone off the podcast?
Yeah, right me, right now. I don't know. He did a fake echo just to make himself not sound stupid.
Yeah. So that hurts.
Um,
I could be asleep right now.
so as the resident America's Got Talent expert on the show
So
and
you've seen it twice.
listed credentials, yeah, I've seen 4 episodes
Whoa,
total.
whoa, whoa, whoa!
I did watch one season.
Show off. Oh.
All right, well maybe I need to take a back seat here. But no, I mean, Darnbos was a great story. Obviously, the dude's going to be okay regardless. I just thought...
For anyone who doesn't know, kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Long snapper.
Long snapper.
Yes.
Wow, he gives it to kicker. All right. So long snapper for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's getting too late. I've done this too many times now. Twice. And he is also a magician that is shockingly good.
Yes.
On top of having a stunningly hot wife.
Yes,
you know what? I would like to get her on the podcast, and then maybe eventually John.
Eventually, John. Yeah. Let's start low with his wife. Yeah.
No, we'll start low with him, and then move up to the wife. I've seen the pictures.
The thing I liked about him, though, like I saw all of his performances. Like obviously the tricks are great, but his personality, like he sells it, and I think that's what kind of advanced him. Obviously the publicity, being a professional football player, helped, but I
think that's what got him in the door.
The people voted for that.
Being a showman more than that, because. Having watched one season of America's Got Talent, there's a lot of people who are very good for one, maybe 2 episodes, but then can't back it up. And it was really the personality and him switching it up more than anything that backed it up.
Yeah, I love everything about it. I was really hoping he would win. Tonight we were all watching together, like top 5, that was insane.
Yeah.
And then they kicked off the 4th. He was in the top 3. I was like, no way. Mm-hmm. And then Nick Cannon, who looked like Jafar tonight, went out and said that the top 3 were all decided by less than 1% point.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They said that's never happened before. I mean, that was just great. And that little Taylor Swift,
the little girl won. And I'm super happy for her. She can use that $1 million to have someone coach her in how to not to ugly cry.
Oh yeah, what an ugly cry!
That was
ruined it.
I don't know that it ruined it.
Ruined it.
Yep. So she's done in this industry.
I mean, granted, Taylor Swift did kind of ugly cry after Kanye, right? Maybe a little bit.
Don't know that I actually saw that. I just
probably happened.
I can neither confirm nor deny these rumors. We'll put an intern on that, Franklin, if you will.
Franklin.
Yeah.
The Sixers mascot?
From he's the inspiration for Franklin and Bash.
Oh. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
It's the official Breckenmeyer podcast.
That's not even remotely true. So, as we vaguely move more in the sports direction, actually, I guess not vaguely because we're going to move into it. We're going to talk about Hall of Fame, NBA. Well, I guess not just NBA, but basketball overall.
Okay.
So, some big additions this time around.
Literally.
I see what you did there. Shaquille O'Neal, an obvious Hall of Famer since, I guess his first year more or less. And, of course, hometown favorite, Allen Iverson. So, guys, I got to toss it out there. What are your favorite Allen Iverson moments?
I mean, number one, obviously, when they made it to the finals, stepping over Tyronn Lue, taking game 1 when we thought we would be swept. Obviously, top of the list.
I mean, that's the number 1 for me as well. Another great Iverson moment for me was the crossover on Jordan. I mean, Jordan wasn't defending him that game. There was a pick. He got on him on a switch. The crowd rised up. Iverson kind of realized the moment, hit him with the patented left to right, made the shot. A lot of people don't know this, but the very next possession, Michael Jordan hit a 4-point play. we don't show that as the Bulls won by 20 plus.
Yeah, of course he did.
But hey,
he's only the greatest of all time.
Of course. But for me personally, Iverson was the reason I started watching basketball. Like, he got drafted when I was 10 years old. I didn't have a favorite sport at the time. He just kind of took the league by storm, made basketball fun in Philadelphia. I had to buy all the sneakers, had to have the jerseys. I mean, it was just a phenomenon for me and a lot of my friends. And basketball is honestly my favorite sport, and he is the reason behind it.
Wow. So I'm a little bit older than you guys. I'm firmly a Jordan fan. He was around when I was around. And my favorite Iverson moment, outside of the time that he pushed me.
I thought that's what you were going to go with. Like, that's a great time to tell that story.
Nah.
We'll save it.
No.
We'll save it when we run out of a Rob Lowe idea.
If ever. No, the practice post game. Practice. Talking about practice?
That was actually like summer. That wasn't even post game.
Whatever.
That was like a summer.
It don't even matter.
You may get traded.
It was wonderful.
It was.
I mean,
absolutely.
He was a great player, a huge presence on the court.
I mean,
really transitioned basketball kind of into that more marketable level. I mean, obviously Jordan did the most for the sport on that level, but it kind of stagnated for a while, unlike the Carolina Panthers.
Of course.
And, he kind of made it a thing again.
He changed the NBA, in a sense. Like, fashion-wise,
Yep.
He brought his own unique style to everything.
Making David Stern
Make people wear suits.
Make people wear suits.
It's like,
that's
all
so
right,
good.
if Iverson's not
Iverson
going to
rule.
play, he's wearing like jeans that are 6 sizes too small and a Fat Farm hat.
Oh, Fat Farm. I remember them.
Yeah, Fat Farm was so good.
I mean, how many Timberlands do you think he owned?
Most of them.
you know, he left his outfits in hotels, right?
Yeah,
That's like the greatest story.
So, I heard this somewhere that every city he went to, he'd buy 3 suits for the guys who would like walk through the locker room. I've never seen him wear a goddamn suit.
No.
Did he wear one for the Hall of Fame?
No.
didn't actually-
I don't think so, but I don't think... I saw him when he was up there for like photo shoot. He didn't have a suit on. I don't know if he actually wore it for his speech or not, but apparently his
The
speech
draft,
was
maybe?
Yeah, we'll
Yes.
fact check that. Shaq got in, no surprise there. Just a huge presence on the court, multiple championships.
favorite Cleveland Cavalier of all time.
I think about Shaq, and he's someone that obviously not just a great player, but a real class act also. One of my personal favorite Shaquille O'Neal stories is when George Mikan died. And for anyone that's not 90 years old, George Mikan was the original big man in the NBA back in the
Minneapolis Lakers, I think them. I don't think they're in LA yet.
way long ago. He was the first really dominant big man. And when he died, Shaq stepped up and paid for all of the funeral expenses, and just said, if there was no George Mikan, there'd be no Shaquille O'Neal, and just kind of dropped the mic and walked away.
Yeah.
And, class thing to do. When he retired and announced that he had a big meeting for all the media people, had it fully catered, and really took care of them because of how good they were to him. Because a lot of his branding was, he was a charismatic guy.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
All the way up into being a genie or whatever the fuck he was.
Was that Shazam?
Kazam?
Kazam.
I think it was Kazam.
Kazam?
One of my favorite Sega Genesis games of all time, Shaq Fu. I mean,
I feel like that can't possibly be true that it's your favorite. But it is-
Sonic the Hedgehog,
but it is a
Vector
game.
Man, Earthworm Jim, Shaq Fu. On the table, throwing it out there.
No way that's true.
Not
but
at
okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move to this point to football. Week 1 is in the books. And this feels a lot less fun to talk about the second time around, but we're going to do it anyway. So the season started on Thursday with an awesome Thursday night game. Carolina and Denver. Definitely a nail-biter to the end. Started off a little bit slow, but even when the game was 17-7, it still never felt like it had gotten away.
I mean, it was a good game. I mean, for the first game of the year, teams coming off preseason, you expect teams to look sloppy. I mean, both teams look pretty much like mid-season form already. Like, they look like what you expect. Well, outside of the quarterback for Denver, because you really didn't know what to expect. But overall, I thought Denver's defense looked top-notch. And
Yeah, that was kind of... We knew that was a possibility. We figured it was going to happen. Not necessarily as strong as they were.
like, we didn't expect C.J. Anderson to look the way he did.
Right.
Total fantasy bust last year, of course.
And Simeon's, for functionally his first game, looked pretty good.
Yeah.
All they needed out of Peyton Manning last year was to control the game. And I'm not saying Simeon's is as smart as Peyton Manning or has his level of football intelligence.
Studied on him a little bit. So
Yeah, but he held his own, and he'll grow more each week. So if I were a Denver fan, I'd feel really good.
So, did you guys catch Peyton in the booth?
I did.
Oh my God, he is built for that if he wants it.
Yeah.
Like
We all
executives,
knew that.
I know we knew it, but just hearing him in the booth, it was just like executives were drooling to pay him to do color.
It was so seamless.
Oh,
He
I don't know if it's
belonged
the
there.
commercials or the hosting SNL, whatever it is. He can think on his feet. I mean, Peyton's like the GOAT in a sense. He's just awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Carolina lost in a close one. Came right down to it.
still well on their way to being 15-1 and stagnant from last year.
Right.
7-9.
All right.
It's coming.
So he says. The question I have is: was this game more about Carolina being worse than we thought, or Denver being better than we thought, or both?
I think for me, this was Denver being better than we thought. Simeon, who, thank you for reminding me, I got all of my Simeons out in the first podcast and couldn't remember his name until you said it.
Fair enough.
We knew the defense would be good. I still say that the Super Bowl last year, one of the most boring games of all time, that was probably, if you played that game 10 times, the worst that Cam Newton would come out. And so just to see him bounce back at least a little bit against that defense, I thought was pretty good for Carolina.
I mean, him and Kelvin Benjamin linked right back up. They didn't miss a step from the year that he was gone. So happy about that.
I'm really glad that Cam retired the dab. He did the Millie Rock, which, for all of our older listeners, the Millie Rock's a hip dance, and I feel like we're going to see some Millie Rocks this year.
I'm looking forward to that.
Are we going to see any twerking this year, do you think?
We already saw it Monday night. Antonio Brown.
Yeah. All right. So moving along to another quarterback who is fresh to the league and had a good debut, Eagles-Browns. Eagles took the win in a decided fashion against, of course, the very lousy Browns. Carson Wentz looked, pretty poised and good for his debut. Obviously made some mistakes.
Yeah.
But that's to be expected. You've got to feel pretty good as an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I was definitely
which is, I guess, an oxymoron, feeling good and being an Eagles fan.
Well, always got to have that in the back of your head. I felt pretty good. He threw 50%, but the throws he was making, dropping some in, throwing some back shoulders, really threading the needle, he showed some poise, and definitely excited for that being his first start. Cautiously optimistic, but I'm liking what I see so far.
And not even really his first start, considering he played 3/4 of a preseason game, sat out 3 weeks, and then got thrown into a real-life situation and literally threw a touchdown pass on his first drive. I mean, and that first pass was beautiful. Yeah. That ball was perfect.
It dropped right in there.
I think Wentz has the tools. He has the build. I think he has the attributes. I mean, he's built for it. The only problem is he plays in Philadelphia. I mean,
that's hard to overcome.
Yeah, I mean,
some would say no one in the National Football League has done that thus far.
Played in Philadelphia?
No, overcome playing in Philadelphia.
You know who else had all the tools? Kevin Cobb.
Kevin Cobb. Oh, what's he doing now?
I don't know.
What gas station is he at?
Remember when Nick Foles threw 27 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions?
7 in one game.
Oh my. Yeah, against the Raiders.
So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Colts and the Lions. I really don't want to talk about this game again. The first previously scrapped game podcast kind of ruined this for me, so we'll keep it pretty short. Close game, really tough loss for us. Our defense is terrible. Offense looked good, although I hate the fact that they start games slow and have to pick it up later. And as much as I love safeties, I hated seeing that safety at the end in garbage time.
Expense.
Yeah, not at my expense. Although not nearly as much as my expense as the gambling public. Because for anyone that didn't watch the game or didn't catch this, the Colts were down 2 as the game, faded into nothing, and they had one last kind of Hail Mary type chance that ended with a safety, so they lost by 4. Well, I don't know if the line or there's a teaser line or something that was set at 2.5, so that garbage safety that meant absolutely nothing cost a friend of mine a parlay, and he was none too happy about that.
So I feel like the Colts' slow start is just a reflection upon their coach. I mean, Jack hit on this before in the previous show.
I mean, I wanted to say that Pagano would be the first coach fired. I've just never liked him really as a coach. I don't know about you, Yarny. You follow him more, but between him and Caldwell, they were one of my first coaches fired.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feeling of Pagano one way or the other. Obviously, a lot of people rallied around him with the health issues, but he's healthy again.
You fired people before, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you ever fired anybody to beat cancer? Because I'd like to know how that conversation. Like, I fired people too. I fired 2 people in my life, and the last person I fired cried and begged for their job, and I couldn't do it. Now I can't imagine somebody doing that and like, I beat cancer, but I can't get to work on time.
I mean, I fired triple digits of people. Like, I fired a lot of people in my professional life. Probably someone's had cancer.
Statistically speaking,
like I don't give them a doctor's questionnaire first. It's usually, hey, let's have a talk. Here's things you did. Now you don't work here anymore. It's a little bit more structured than that. Sure. They signed something. But
I just feel like that's a very touchy subject, and I feel like SNL needs to just run with it.
Yeah, I mean,
we're Mad TV. They're trying to make a name for themselves again.
Yeah, right.
Mad TV. Here's a challenge to you. Fire somebody with cancer in a comedy sketch and let's see what happens.
And replace them with Bruce Arians.
Oh, let's not talk about Bruce Arians.
I would love to talk about him.
No.
Chris
fuck
said,
you and your Pennsylvania.
Chris said no, so we're moving on to another Pennsylvania team. Steelers played against the Redskins, and they won as expected because, Washington's terrible and
Yeah, so, I mean, we touched on it before, so I'll just literally repeat myself verbatim. Jordan Matthews was real effective in the first drive. Not Jordan Matthews. He played.
So we're
for
talking
Yeah,
about Jordan
Eagles
Matthews.
player.
Yeah.
He was very effective.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he actually had a great game.
Yeah.
Jordan
Man,
Reed.
it's past your bedtime.
Exactly. Oh, it's literally past all of our bedtimes right now.
Not me.
Of course not. Jordan Reed was perfect the first drive, and then Pittsburgh made some adjustments, and then Kirk Cousins looked awful from that point. like I
Deshaun
said-
Jackson looked all right.
Yeah, he looked good, but then they just stopped throwing to him.
Yeah, well,
And then,
they didn't want to overwork him.
of course, Ben was on point. D'Angelo Williams looked great again. Spot starting for Le'Veon, who smokes that good weed in Pittsburgh.
And then goes to Primanti Brothers.
I love Primanti Brothers. I would love for that to be an official sponsor of the show.
Can we we need to do a
Live
Shower
show.
Beer podcast field trip to Primanti Brothers?
I still have not been.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I've only been there twice in the same weekend.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've been there 3 times, but the first time doesn't count because my face was broken in a bunch of places. I had to have soup,
You're a Kanye at heart.
which was stupid dumb.
Did they put French fries in the soup?
They did not put French fries in the soup.
Ah.
Great sandwich. I really want one right now.
Yeah.
This sucks. I'm so hungry right
The,
now.
the original one was 24 hours. We could not make it.
We can make
We could make it not before you have to be at work for that quote unquote real job you have.
What's work?
It's a place that gives you money and benefits
Fair enough.
in exchange for manual labor. So anyway, moving right along, Giants Cowboys was a game that people cared about because people like the Giants and the Cowboys. They're obviously 2 big market teams, and people in the area that I reside hate the Cowboys, so they were pretty happy about this.
I mean, debut of Dak, the Dak attack.
I think Dak looked good. I mean, like I said, he didn't have a touchdown pass. Cole Beasley dropped one. That's what you get for throwing to a white receiver. They pretty much dropped everything.
Dez dropped one.
Dez dropped one. Was that a touch? That was in the end zone too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it flashed on my fantasy app that he had a touchdown. So yes, that was a
The original ruling was a
It was,
touchdown.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like that game came down to Terrence Williams being a freaking idiot. Had an opportunity to run out of bounds and get at least a game-winning field goal attempt, and decided to juke his defender back inside and fall down with 7 seconds left.
Yeah,
thinking
but that's
he
an
could get-
easy mistake to make. It's his first game. Wait. Oh, it's not his first game?
It's not his first game.
Oh, second though, right?
Try again.
Third,
No.
90th.
That's a lot
Closer,
closer.
So, I picked Dallas to come out of the division this year, and I just realized that I actually have a real problem with Dak Prescott. His nickname, Dak Attack, is a blatant ripoff from Saved by the Bell and Zack Attack. So I got to be honest, I might have to remove my endorsement of him.
Wait, what's Zack Attack?
Zack Attack was their band, I believe. on
Who's
Saved
their
by the Bell.
band? Who's Zach?
On Saved by the Bell, the hit early 90s sitcom.
Who played Zach?
That would be Mark Paul Gosselaar.
From Franklin and Bash?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's right, with Breckenmeyer.
Like I said, this is the official Breckenmeyer podcast. We're talking about his co-star, Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Did we talk about it on this time or
We
last
did.
time that we recorded this?
I don't even care.
I don't know anymore.
Don't even care. No, it was this time. It was definitely this time.
All right, take that to the bank. So,
Figure it
so
out.
we now have both Franklin and Bash in the mix on this podcast.
Who knows what's going to happen next?
Maybe it gets rebooted.
Maybe an AC Slater mention, who knows? Which is now a popular term, by the way, for taking a dump while facing the bowl of the toilet. So you're facing it backwards.
Wait, is this real?
It's a real thing. And here's what I can tell you guys. In order to do this, you don't think about this. You have to take your pants all
Yeah.
the way off.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that was a South Park episode.
It wasn't called an AC Slater. It was.
No,
They were joking about how it was made that way, so you have a tray to do things.
Yes.
Which,
Yes.
Yes.
so my knowledge of the AC Slater predates that South Park episode, and yes, I have done it.
Have you?
Proud of you.
Are you?
I am. I
All
left
right.
an upper decker at a previous place of employment before.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I haven't done that. That just seems mean and vindictive.
Yeah, they deserved it.
It's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Literally.
It does.
All right. So on that note, talking about big piles of shit, the Patriots
Yes.
managed to get a way down on the Cardinals. So I'm going to say this, much better transition than the last version of this podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, no Brady, no Gronk. You've got Garoppolo in there doing his thing. And, Cardinals, no slouch. So, big win for the Patriots. And what it just comes down to, let's be honest, Bill Belichick sold his soul to all of the Devils some time ago for the power to coach people that aren't real athletes.
Right.
Of course.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's cheating. I don't know. Could be a possibility.
Well, that's a crazy
because he got
accusation.
caught one time, so he wouldn't do it again.
Or was that twice?
But he wouldn't do it again.
Third time's the charm.
But he wouldn't do it again.
It's true.
Well, either way, they beat the Cardinals.
It's just funny to me. Like, I fell asleep watching that game, and I woke up and saw the Patriots won. And I wasn't even surprised. Like, yeah, they went to Arizona, beat a potential Super Bowl team without their two best players, and it didn't even surprise me.
And it was a very good defense. I mean, the Cardinals have an awesome defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're right up there with the best.
So
Got the Honey Badger.
Yeah.
So no excitement there, but the opposite of that would be the Raiders game, which ended with a lot of fun. I'm sure one of you wants to talk about this.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. That game was amazing. Raiders were driving down a touchdown, and they called a lucky break to a bad call, some defensive holding, got a fresh set of downs, went ahead and scored a touchdown, immediately went for two. Wasn't even an afterthought. They immediately went for two. They obviously converted. Saints missed a field goal to win it. Probably the most exciting game.
Well, the word on the street is that Jack Del Rio, at the beginning of that drive, said, if we score, we're going for two.
And that's great. You want to see that with a coach, that, especially with a young team, you want to see them given that like boost of confidence, that vote of confidence right away.
And how good do they feel in that locker room?
Oh.
It's an amazing. It has to be amazing. And of course, did you see the Del Rio tweet after?
I heard about it. I didn't see it.
All right, so ESPN Stats tweeted out that the Raiders had a 44% chance of winning if they went for two, and a 51% chance of winning if they actually just kicked the extra point. Well, Del Rio retweeted that with his own comment, well, I'm glad ESPN doesn't coach the Raiders.
Absolutely awesome.
That is just fantastic.
Gotta love
Fair
it.
point.
I love seeing people getting active on Twitter and just kind of firing some shots from time to time.
Especially somebody like a coach who
Yeah.
is so used to giving like generic coach speak answers to the media. For them to just fire something like that is great.
Andy Reid would have never done that.
Yeah,
Never.
no.
He would just say, we got to do better.
Exactly.
We gotta do better here.
We won the game. We got to do better.
Speaking of doing better, let's move to the Chargers game. Despite putting up a ton of points early on, they managed to lose to the Chiefs, who by no means are a slouch team. But the Chargers have got to feel bad about that loss.
The Chargers season just went up in flames. I mean, they blew a lead. They lost their best player outside of Phillip Rivers.
And Manti Te'o, of course.
Oh, yeah. Where's his girlfriend anymore?
I believe she's hanging with Ryan Lochte.
Is she?
Yeah, preventing police.
Makes
fraud.
sense. Makes
Things.
sense. But no, it's so demoralizing. You have a three touchdown lead. Your second year running back who didn't score a touchdown last year scores two touchdowns in the first half. Like, the optimism is just growing for your fan base, and then your star receiver just goes down with a non-contact ACL injury. Going to miss the whole year. I mean, it's just, and then the whole team fell apart from that point. It's just very demoralizing.
I mean, this really reinforces my pick for first coach fired coming out of San Diego. I mean, these are the kind of games that Phillip Rivers usually wins, because he's one of those guys, I've said this before, he can win every game. The problem is he doesn't win enough games.
Of course.
But, he's the kind of guy that wins against a top team and then loses 3 against bad teams. Well, now he's blowing leads and losing against good teams, and this is the kind of game that he should have won.
And one of the things for me is, like, if you took the 32 starting quarterbacks and wrote them down on a piece of paper and said, all right, out of these quarterbacks, which ones can lead a 3-touchdown comeback?
Can I tell you who's at the top of my list?
Who's that?
Alex Smith.
You know what? 1A and 1B with Carson Wentz, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
right.
But now Alex Smith is down there with, like, Brock Osweiler and who
Jay
else?
Cutler.
Yeah, like, it's just not going to happen. Alex Smith.
Matt Schaub.
Is he still in the league?
I mean, at least Alex Smith is a starter. Come on, man.
Oh,
He's still alive.
Yeah, we hope.
Yeah. Can we get an intern to confirm that?
R.I.P. Matt Shaw.
Jamie, yeah. Hot take. Matt Schaub dead at the age of 28.
He will be remembered. Arian Foster will speak at his funeral.
None of that is true. Except for him being dead.
Tony Baselli's going to be one of the pallbearers.
And
All right, now
Danny
transition.
McBride.
Back
Yeah,
to
transition from
overreaction
Tony
stuff.
Baselli now, asshole.
done, got it. So speaking of MVPs, the real MVP this week is the guy in the college game day crowd who's got the sign, "Mom, I need beer money," and put his Venmo address on there.
Yeah, I saw this on Twitter where he actually tweeted out some screenshots that after this. Obviously, the college game day has some amazing signs, but this guy putting his Venmo on there and showed the pages and pages and pages of just random people sending him money.
You got like $5,000, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
The thing is, it was so spontaneous. It's unprecedented with the Venmo, and it's just obviously it's going to be replicated now.
I mean, I wish I thought of it.
As I'm saying,
Oh,
like
no.
I think that's why people gave money. It's like that is original, and I want to give that guy
Look,
money.
I love fun things like that. I like to see things like that being rewarded. I'm gonna toss this out there. If someone wants to shoot me his Venmo address, I'll send him $5.
Exactly.
He earned it.
Absolutely. It's a great time. Yeah.
Why donate to GoFundMe's for people that need when you can get $5 for beer money to a college kid?
Yeah, maybe I'll do that too. I guess I don't know.
All right.
We'll see.
We'll talk
So-
about Chuck Pagano again.
Yeah, right. I think he beat it. Like, if we get Chuck on the podcast, I'll toss him.
I'm
$5.
being really ignorant because it's
Also
really
fire.
late. This is the second take. And people are like, wow, this Chris guy's a real dick. He's trying to fire people with cancer.
So now we're going to move to a new segment that we're starting, which is called the Who's Eliminated segment, in which each week we're each going to pick a team that is not going to make the playoffs by our own reckoning. And personally, I'm going with the clear loser from week one. The Rams looked absolutely god-awful. Looked just terrible. I mean, they're not making the playoffs.
This goes right in line with my bold prediction. They looked awful against a...
Seeming less bold now.
Well, hey, it was bold last week, all right?
It
was.
I got it in under the wire. Against Chip Kelly's now defunct offense, as the Ringer told us last week. A defense that probably wasn't that good, and they put up 28 points on them.
Carlos Hyde looked good, but they had no answer for him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, obviously you guys both went L.A.
Going LA.
Rumor has it in the first take, I may or may not have said Carolina to double down on my bold prediction.
What?
The
So
thing
are
is,
you changing that now? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying rumor has it. There's nothing on the record. I'm going Cleveland just to piss you guys off. Just to piss you guys off. RG3 is out. Josh McCown doesn't have what it takes. The Cleveland Browns, you heard it here first, guys. The Cleveland Browns will not make the playoffs in 2016. Deal with it, guys. I just bolted to that corner.
Yeah, you did. So the first time that we did this, Chris went with the Carolina Panthers, who
A
he
very
last,
bold pick.
a very
mind
bold
you.
pick,
Allegedly.
and I immediately challenged him to making this interesting. And because we have a format here where we're each gonna pick a new team each week, and it'll read down to, by the time the playoffs roll around, to only the playoff teams left in the league. We'll double up on a couple weeks. We didn't
Yeah,
quite
sure.
figure that out. That's something that the creative staff can work on for the show.
Cindy, she'd be good at that.
I don't think that she would be, but okay. So we'll end up with the remaining teams to go, and so there's a very easy way to judge this, and we'll know who had the best and most accurate predictions. And when he put that out there, I demanded that he put his money where his mouth is by forcing some kind of a bet. Now, we didn't actually come to a bet. All we did was talk about the worst tasting liquor in the world, Malort, which is from the great state of Illinois, more specifically in Chicago. I almost said the great state of Chicago, which
big
it
enough
might
to be a
which it might as well be.
I think Chicago's bigger than Rhode Island. I've been to both.
Yeah, as
Pretty
have
massive,
I.
yeah.
So we still need to come up with some kind of wager.
I am just saying, I mean, it sucks they started 0-1. Carolina might get hot. They might sneak in. I'm going to hold off on Carolina. You never know.
Literally the exact opposite of what
You
was
know,
said here earlier tonight.
what's their quarterback's name? It's slipping. It's
Delhomme?
Delhomme? No, the guy with the nice smile.
The nice smile.
I know there was a kid on one of the commercials that's going to take his job.
Yeah.
Warming up his arm.
I mean, if that too, maybe I'll pick them next week if he takes over.
Oh, I hope you do.
But right now, they might sneak in as a wild card team.
Oh, that's bogus. All right. So regardless, you're taking a shot of Malort, which is by far the most disgusting liquor that exists. I've had it before. This is going to be one of those penalty bets. I couldn't remember what it was called in the first version of this, so I literally Googled awful liquor, and it popped up instantly. So that's the thing. We're now seeking them for sponsorship, by the way.
Yeah.
Come on, Malort.
So if anyone's got an in with Malort, I'm ready to party.
We'll have a shot of the week on our podcast.
Oh, good God. I think that like whoever makes the biggest fool of themselves from the previous week should have to take one.
There we go.
Works
So,
for me.
just
Not
jack
me. I picked Cleveland to miss the playoffs. On the record.
So just jack every time for causing echoes and other nonsense. But we're going to keep on moving and move over to the whiner of the week. Now, Chris, if you would go ahead and lead us off with this, please.
I'm going to go with Trent Dilfer, the former Super Bowl winning quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm going to act like I'm surprised at that.
Trent Dilfer's an idiot. On the ESPN NFL Countdown, obviously one of the hot topics was Colin Kaepernick and his whether he wanted to sit or stand for the anthem.
We haven't killed that one yet. Yeah.
Of course not. But at the same time, his take was such hot garbage. He was just saying how it's his job as a backup to blend in with the team and put the team first and not comment on social issues where obviously, however you feel, when you're in that position and you have that platform, say what you want. It's just the way he went about it was kind of like Schnei. And then when Kaepernick found out and said that he was wrong, instead of like backpedaling or anything, or he pretty much just said that, oh, I always felt a certain way about child sex slavery, and I never said anything because I put my team first. And apparently, this is the thing. This is the first I've heard
So wait
of
a second. He's a good teammate because he put them before child sex slavery.
That's pretty much what he
And
said.
so
And
because he was playing football, child sex slavery is still happening.
maybe so.
I mean, we recapped this on the first taping of this, but just to get everyone on there, what's everyone's official stance on child sex slavery? Pro or con?
We're against it.
Adamantly against it.
So, not only am I against it, last time there was a big controversy because I said that I abstain, which apparently came out wrong. I'm against child sex slavery, and I abstain in practicing it.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
We're going to get that in there. So actually, maybe it's a good thing that first one was sabotaged, where it was apparently came across that I was a fan of child sex. I don't know.
I mean, you just
Not
like
a
the
fan,
movie,
though.
You just like the movie Taken,
I do love the movie Taken.
and that just
And-
would ruin
And
the
that
plot.
may be a crossover.
I don't know that they were children. I think they might have been 18. I
There
was
may have
never
been a child in there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. They weren't checking IDs, which to my understand that people that force others into prostitution don't normally do. Yeah. But whatever. What do I know?
Kind of pre-screening bullshit they running over there.
Yeah. They need to be regulated. That's the problem. They need to be taxed. But that's a whole different story. And Jack, your whiner of the week?
That would be me because I do not have a winner of the week.
All right, moving right along. So my whiners of the week is actually a twofer. I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce this yet again. But Sam Satude and Barzine Cerruti.
Ah, Barzine.
I know that they are well known amongst people in these parts. But no, these two guys decided that they had nothing better to do than to protest Ryan Lochte on Dancing with the Stars. So Ryan Lochte is apparently on Dancing with the Stars with Calvin Johnson, who is not in Detroit anymore, much to their chagrin, even though they still beat my Colts.
They got Marvin Jones now,
Yeah, well,
who I own in every fantasy league, and he caught 4 balls for 60 yards, so I've since dubbed him Marvitron. And Marvitron's taking the league by storm.
all right. Well, Megatron and Lochte and Vanilla Ice are all on Dancing with the Stars, and after Lochte's dance, or I don't know, whatever, however they do it, these two guys storm the stage, and really caught everyone off guard, and they were there to protest Ryan Lochte being a liar and an idiot. And
Now, do those names sound Brazilian? By chance?
they were in Brazil during the Olympics. I don't know if they're
Did
actually
they feel
Brazilian.
slighted by his story and decided to...
Well, here's what I don't get. So Ryan Lochte is possibly the dumbest person to have access to a microphone right now. I mean,
Aside from the three
Besides
of us,
us being delirious recording at this hour.
yeah, but no, because we can generally put sentences together, which he's not able to do with
Sometimes we can.
consistency. He's obviously an idiot. He clearly, made a terrible decision with peeing on a building, and making up a story, and getting caught making up a story, and everything there was clearly wrong. He's on Dancing Stars more or less as a joke, because
he was probably already on there before the Olympics and
Right,
before all
could've
this
been.
came out. I'm sure
I mean,
he was already signed up.
Look, they grab people to draw some buzz, and that's what he does. Whatever, who are these people aiming their protest to? Who's like, you know what? That Ryan Lochte was a swell guy, but these guys are right. He is a liar. That's not a thing that has happened. So meanwhile, they don't have anything better to do with their time.
I mean, I don't know if we brought it up before. Maybe it was all staged. Was somebody bringing that up possibly?
Maybe, hold on. They ran on the stage and they're, doing all of this to get a little bit of publicity for
They had
Dancing with
shirts
Stars.
made though.
Maybe this is the second undercard of the upcoming WrestleMania.
Ooh.
I would watch that.
I got a feeling between now and the first week of April, we're going to have an entire 10-match WrestleMania
I
card
think
book.
we're gonna have this.
Yeah, I'm wanting for that.
And The Rock will be the one wrestler in there.
I like the
He
idea.
goes by Dwayne Johnson
Yes.
now. You
I like-
insensitive
But you know what?
pricks.
I would watch Ryan Lochte and his Dancing with the Stars real dancer, who's apparently one of the better ones. I would watch the two of them fight these assholes,
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
preferably in a street match.
Oh, you got to be a street
That'd
match.
be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And just watch someone get beat to death.
Or maybe like in a pool that's only like half filled. Fight on his turf, you know what I mean?
I feel like that just really skews things too much in his favor.
Yeah, I think he's got too much of an advantage
Yeah.
there.
But anyway, these idiots did this, and now they're also they got dragged off and taken to jail. Now they're saying that the security there is too rough, and they might have a lawsuit. Just idiots.
You ever watch the show?
No.
I
you?
haven't, no.
Yeah. I don't know. I watched a couple times when Antonio Brown was on.
Of course you
Then,
did.
then he didn't win, and I was like, all right, I'm not watching it anymore.
The one thing Antonio Brown couldn't do.
My mom would text me, hey, Antonio's on. Or no, it would be, hey, Tonio, and it's in all caps.
Hey, did you give your mom a hard time this second time around? Has that streak ended?
I was about to say, did she tape it for you by chance?
Yeah, she taped it for me. Of course. she records the DVR. She still calls it taping it. I got it on tape for you.
I think that's probably
Come over,
fairly
I got
common,
leftovers.
actually. All right. So I believe that this is the second wrap for the night. Follow us on social media at Shower Beer Pod. We're hopefully going to be on iTunes soon. Hopefully this one actually worked.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
time will tell.
We'll find out soon.
But guys, that's what I've got. Peace.